This right here is the source of Britain's most famous river, the River Thames.
This pile of stones will become something far greater. This pile of stones in the corner of a field just outside the Cotswold town of Kemble marks the start of Britain's most famous river. The River Thames story begins here. The Thames is a slow river, winding its way through the countryside. It doesn't crash down mountains, it just calmly finds its way through southern England on its journey to the North Sea. In just over 200 miles, the Thames only drops about 360 feet from its beginning to its end. Finding the source of the Thames was easy, but finding where the water actually started today was another matter.
This is bikepacking Britain's most famous river, the River Thames. Let's go and see what stories the River Thames has in store for us.
Completely dry, not a drop of water in sight today. The riverbed was so dry, I could actually cycle along it.
It's quite weird actually cycling in the River Thames, considering what it becomes. It is kind of weird, and I mean there was a rope swing back there as well, so I mean obviously it gets full enough that you can swim a bit, but it's a bit of a weird experience actually cycling. Now, I mean I've cycled in rivers and streams and stuff before, but in the River Thames, very strange. Can't get through there at all. It's just so overgrown. I'm going to see if I can get into that field and just walk around or cycle around. We'll see. But first I've got to get back through that crap. That's a no-go then. Back to the road we go. Should have probably guessed by how overgrown the gate is.
While the trails were full and overgrown, the River Thames was still empty. However, I would find some water in the Cotswolds lakes. With 180 lakes created in the second half of the 20th century by extraction of glacial Jurassic limestone gravel which had eroded from the Cotswold Hills, and these filled naturally from rivers and streams.
Of course. Of course. Oh man. Come on. I think we'll have to just chuck the bike over somehow. The chicken has fallen off. Might still on there. Oh god. Well, just stopped at Cricklade and restocked on some supplies and ate some ice lollies and a meal deal. It's just getting very hot out here again today, but good news, the Thames has some water now. So now we're actually following water. I don't know how many miles I'm going to manage to do today. It's been pretty slow going so far. And that sun is getting ever hotter. It's meant to get to like 27 degrees, I think, today. So probably going to stop quite a lot. The problem is with following this river, is obviously I've got to go through London, which means I've got to do the whole of the London section in one go. So I need to make sure I'm starting off on that London section as early as possible. But we'll see how far we get today, and then I think it'll probably end up taking around 3 days because of that, because I'll need to make sure tomorrow I stop very close to built up bits of London. But for now, let's keep following this river. Oh, it's too hot.
Now that the River Thames had finally picked up some water, it was actually moving. Not fast, just a slow, lazy flow winding through the fields. You could see it gliding past the reeds and little bends, calm and steady, doing its thing without any rush. It wasn't dramatic, it was just the Thames, finally awake and on its way. On its way towards the many settlements that humans have created since the Thames began.
Oh my god. Luckily, I think there's a bit of a trail around this one.
The river would finally reach Lechlade. This is the highest point on the Thames where larger boats can navigate, thanks to St John's Lock just downstream. Lechlade gets its name from the River Leach, which joins the Thames here. Historically, this town was a vital inland port in the early 1700s. Goods unloaded in Bristol were transported to Gloucester, carried overland to Lechlade, and then sent down the Thames to London.
I think so far today I've drank about 4 litres, 3.5, 4 litres of water, something like that. Just the problem is it's too hot and I don't want to eat. So I'm drinking loads, but then I'm not eating. It's annoying, but I've got another little issue. Got some disc rub, but I think it's because the pads are actually worn out. So we're gonna have some fresh pads for the rest of the ride, I think. I was getting fed up with it, just rubbing and rubbing and rubbing. So fresh pads, but I shouldn't really need them too much because, I mean, it's technically downhill, but really it's quite flat. I've got another 25-ish miles to go until I get to about Oxford. Not sure if I want to actually get to Oxford, because if I get to Oxford, I've got to go all the way through Oxford, because I don't really want to be camping around there. I've camped in Portmeadow before, but that was a long time ago when I was a teenager, and I woke up with loads of cows surrounding my tent, and it's a bit busy, especially this time of year. So we'll see. But yeah, probably that's probably why they're rubbing a bit. It's gone down to a bit of the metal there. Much better. I reckon I got my money's worth with them pads, but fresh pads do feel good. Right, 25-ish miles to get to Oxford. It is already 3:30, so I should probably will make it, and then have an evening ride towards Abington and that way, but we'll see. It's starting to cool down a bit. The clouds have rolled in a bit. It feels so good. It's been so dry that the trails, when I am off-road, are so dry, which normally is quite a good thing, but a lot of them are like tractors have been over them, and then they've like split, and they've got like these big divots in them, and so they're just really uncomfortable, really slow going. So hopefully there's not too many more of them, because they're quite painful.
No luck there, I'm afraid. I would be back following the River Thames through the solid, scorched fields. However, there were a bunch of clouds rolling in, which meant at least the temperature was starting to cool off. And with the Thames winding its way through the Oxfordshire countryside, up to this point the Thames has only gone through small towns and villages, but Oxford would be its first city. With time getting on, I would pass Farmore Reservoir, a vast stretch of water pulled straight from the Thames itself. Even though the river had been mostly dry upstream, here it was contained and tamed, holding enough water to supply Oxford and the surrounding towns with a capacity of about 14 billion litres.
Just come through Ensham, and honestly I will never understand UK weather. It's been 27 degrees all day. I've been melting, and now obviously as I'm looking for somewhere to camp, it's starting to rain. If I wasn't looking for somewhere to camp, I would say it's the most refreshing rain ever, but hopefully it won't be too much, and I can find somewhere to camp before it gets heavy. I'm into Oxford right now, which isn't ideal because 7:30, and it's a good few hours to get through Oxford, past Abington, out there somewhere possibly, I don't know. I'm kind of hoping I can find somewhere before I get into Oxford, or at least the city centre. I'm not sure. Finished for the day. Gonna have to be doing a bit of stealth wild camping tonight, like right in the corner of Oxford. Should be fine. The only downside is you can probably hear it, the roar of the road. That's going to be all night pretty much. But I've done about 55 miles, I think it was, in total today, plus the 20 to get to the start, so not bad. Tomorrow's goal will be to pretty much get as close to London without getting to all the busy bit. It's to then do a mammoth London day, which, looking at the map, looks like it's going to be a good 110 miles, like at the minimum. If there's like a camp spot there, then that'll be it, but it might even be a longer day, who knows. But yeah, it's going to be a long old slog through London, but tomorrow should be nice, apart from one thing. Today was really hot, 27 degrees. Tomorrow says 31. I'm going to die. It's way in the corner at the moment, just waiting for it to get dark. And I think, don't want to give my spot away, but I'll just tuck myself around there somewhere. Should be good. But for now, I'm just going to wait here, nice and sheltered, so if it starts raining, which it keeps saying it's going to rain, and then it rains for about 30 seconds and then stops raining, whatever. But yeah, I'm going to wait here until the sun sets, it gets a bit dark, and then I'm going to set up the tent, and as always, I'll see you bright and early in the morning.
Good morning, good morning. Day 2 of cycling from source to sea of the Thames. And today, I feel so nice. It rained a bit last night, so it cooled it down a bit. It's nice and cool right now. You know, it's going to get to like 31 today, so it's going to be a hot one. Last night, that little spot that I had last night turned into a great little spot, really. It was kind of noisy with the cars, but then it started raining and it was actually quite nice. It drowned out the noise of the cars and had the nice pitter-patter of the rain on my tent. Although, as that rain came through, like, it must have been a bit of a storm or something because it was so windy. But I'm waking up right on the edge of Oxford. I'm gonna head into the city right now. Now, today is the day though that I have to make sure I am as close as I possibly can get to London, like the built-up area. So then tomorrow I've got to try and get the whole way through and to the other side to where the Thames finally meets the sea. That does mean I'm probably going to have to do about 70 to 80 miles. I've got a rough idea. There's a woodlands roughly leaving me with about 120 miles, I think, tomorrow, 110, something like that. So that's the plan. It's kind of, I'll figure out where exactly it is throughout the day, but yeah, that's the plan. Tons of geese over there in Port Meadow, but oh, it's so nice, it's cool there. I'm going to make the most of it. I know for the next like at least 20 odd miles it's kind of easy to ride, and there's should be no overgrown stuff. Lots of overgrown stuff, lots of fallen trees, so hopefully today it's a little bit smoother, don't get slowed down as much, and I can just pedal along the River Thames. Let's go. Early morning heading into Oxford, and the Thames was calm and steady. This stretch of water has been part of the city for centuries. The river cuts right through Oxfordshire's countryside before opening out near Port Meadow, an ancient grazing ground that's barely changed in hundreds of years. Oxford itself grew up around the Thames, with bridges and boathouses lining its banks. The river carried trade, supplied water, and became a backdrop for university life. But the real heartbeat of Oxford and the river, though, is rowing. The Thames has been used for college races since the early 1800s, well before the Oxford-Cambridge boat race was ever a thing. Crews have trained here for generations. Without it, there would be no rowing culture here, no boat clubs, no annual races. It's all possible because of the steady, reliable flow of the Thames. A few miles downstream, the small town of Abington, home to Abington Lock, one of the oldest on the Thames still in use today. The original lock here dates back to 1790, built to help boats navigate this stretch of river long before leisure cruising was a thing. These days it's mostly narrowboats, but it was a vital working waterway moving goods between Oxford and London. Abington itself claims to be the oldest continuously inhabited town in Britain, with evidence of settlements going back thousands of years. The river has always been central to its life, whether for trade, milling, or just a backdrop to the town's history. A lot of history has floated down this slow river.
Just coming through a place called Appleford-on-Thames. Currently just trying to make use of this slightly cooler morning air before it gets all hot. I do need to stop off and get loads of water, make sure stay nice and hydrated, but it might not be until Wallingford, so just going to try and get there as fast as I can, and then when I get there it'll probably be getting hotter, so I'll be able to stop, get some breakfast and loads of water.
I had made good progress this morning, using the cooler temperature to my advantage. But it was now starting to heat up as I made my way to the next town along the Thames, Wallingford, where I'd make the most of the shade along the river banks. Wallingford has always been connected to the river, from its old trading days to the castle that once watched over the Thames. For me, it was the perfect spot for some breakfast.
So good. Could have sat there all day at Wallingford, so nice. It is 10 o'clock now, and that does mean the sun is starting to warm up. Yes, thank you very much. I'm on the gherkins, but also good news, checking the map, I've actually only got to do about 35 miles to get to where I want to get to. It's called something like Bishop Wood. I'm not 100% sure it's going to be a possible campsite for tonight, but it looks like it's as far as I can go. Also, that means tomorrow I would have 105 miles if my route is correct. If my route miles number is actually correct. It's never lied to me in the past, right? But 105 miles. It's tough going in London, but definitely possible. Now I've got a few miles until Goring on Thames and then around to Reading. But because I really only have to do 35 miles, it does mean I get to stop lots and enjoy the river, which is perfect for today because I don't want to be doing massive miles when it's going to be 31 degrees. It's already about 25, so.
Now that I had refueled and rehydrated, it was time to face that sun once more, and on into the dried up Oxfordshire fields I would go, making my way to the beautiful little village of Goring on Thames. Just before the village sits the Goring Lock, the 10th lock on the Thames from the source, keeping the river moving steadily. As I didn't have to do too many miles today, I'd stop for a little while, enjoying some pickle juice. Before continuing along some fun single track that follows right beside the Thames. On my way to the UK's largest town, Reading, a town that has failed to become a city 4 times.
To the heat wave of the day, just come through Reading, which does mean I only have like 15 miles to go to get to the woods that I want to potentially camp at. I've got loads of time to get there, so right now I'm just having a siesta and avoiding this godforsaken sun. Crack on with the next 15 miles or so, and fingers crossed I will actually be able to camp in this woods. Otherwise, I have no idea what I'm going to do.
It was just a day that kept getting hotter and hotter, but with not far to go and plenty of time to get there, I could enjoy more time alongside the river. This time I took the opportunity to cool off under some tree cover and have a little wash in the river before spotting that sign for Bisham, which meant I had made it to the woods I hope to stay in tonight, with lots of time to spare.
Well, I've made it to where I wanted to. Got to the woods, done about 60 miles, so tomorrow I've got just over 100 to do if I'm going to make it to the sea, which I'm going to have to do. I'm just going to have to keep riding until I get there because there's like no chance of sleeping in London, so I can't take an extra day. So I think this is going to be as close as I can get today. I mean, I've just sat around quite a lot today. It's been very fast going, which is brilliant. It's just it's really hot, but I do have one issue. It's never quite as simple as just finding the woods, finding a nice spot to camp, because this woods I'm in, everything is on a big hill. So I'm hoping I'm going to be able to find somewhere in here. I think I'll just climb up one of the hills and find a flattish spot. But yeah, it's been a hot day, 31 degrees. I don't know how people live in hot countries and cycle. Too hot for me. Not even 6 o'clock, so just gotta chill, kill some time, drink water, and watch the sun set somewhere. And get up extra early tomorrow morning and make use of that cool air and quieter London in the morning. So as always, I'll see you bright and early in the morning for the big day of reaching the sea. See you in the morning.
I had got to this woods so early tonight that I had loads of time to unwind and enjoy the shelter from the sun under the tree cover, exploring around the woods, waiting for it to get dark, so I could get up extra early for my big day following the Thames across London. Got up extra early this morning because obviously got to make use of this beautiful, cooler morning air. Last night it was so hot, I actually feel sorry for anyone who was actually sleeping inside, because when I was outside I was still too hot. I ended up not even bothering putting my tent up and just using the inner part as kind of like a bivvy and just slept by a tree. It was so good. Saw some deer, saw some foxes last night. Really quite nice. I'm just coming in to a place called Cookham and then sort of heading round into London. Stay up. But I do need to make sure I get some water, stock up for the whole day, because I don't want to keep stopping in London. So I want to try and do it before I get into all the busy side of stuff. But now I've left a bit earlier, it's only 5:30 right now, and the shop, which is in probably like 5 or 6 miles, doesn't open till 7. So I don't know if I'm going to stop at that one now or I'll just keep going. But day 3 of Source to Sea. Let's go. I love it when that happens. I got to the shop just as it was opening. So I've had breakfast. They always do that thing at supermarkets, don't they, where they make something so expensive that and then put it on offer that you have to basically pay more to make it worth it. So I've eaten 800 grams of strawberries and a thing of pasta from a meal deal. Stocked up on some water. Now I'm well and truly ready for my 100-mile day. Over 100 miles, but about 99 to go. Right, over and across, back down to the Thames now. And into London we go. With just 99 miles of the river left to follow, this morning there was a low mist in the air, which made for a beautiful morning as the sun started to rise over the Jubilee River. The Jubilee River isn't a natural stretch of water like the Thames. It's a man-made channel built to take excess water away from the Thames and help prevent flooding in towns like Maidenhead and Windsor. Rejoining the River Thames now, it was clear I was getting ever closer to the built-up, busy world of London. The river starts to feel different here, wider and busier, carrying not just water, but boats, people, and the history of the city along its banks. The Thames now is truly a living river. So far, so good. I've done 37 miles. I've got about 70 to go though, according to my Garmin. Right now it's good because it's nice gravel. Well, I'm up here, but it's nice, and I'm following the river pretty directly. But as I get closer to the centre, I have to come away a bit because you can't always cycle along it. So that means gonna have some fun playing with the cars. Felt this morning it's actually been really nice. It's actually been a little bit cooler than yesterday. It's been a bit misty, so it's been quite refreshing, but the sun is starting to come out now, and that means it's going to get hot just in time to get towards the city centre. Got a few miles until Richmond and then on towards the city centre. Let's keep moving. 70 miles to go. The Thames now getting ever closer to the heart of the city did mean on occasion I would have to head up into the busier streets, but for the most part I was able to stay right beside this mighty river that was now becoming tidal, the water rising and falling with the sea. More than 30 bridges in London cross the Thames, some more famous than others. Hammersmith Bridge is a cast iron suspension bridge, first opened in 1887, and is one of the oldest suspension bridges over the Thames, and in the world. I had been making good progress along the river this morning, and now I was well and truly in the heart of the city, coming to maybe one of the most visited places in London, especially this time of year. The Houses of Parliament sit right on the Thames. Their towers and spires dominating the riverside. Big Ben stands at the north end, keeping time for the city, while the river carries everything from commuter ferries to tour boats. But if there is one bridge over the Thames that is the most famous though, it will be Tower Bridge. Not as old as you might expect, it opened to the public in 1894 and is bound by an Act of Parliament to give river traffic priority over road traffic. The Tower Bridge Act of 1885 also states that the bridge is to be opened free of charge for river traffic. The bridge can still be raised to let tall ships through, and it remains one of the most recognisable landmarks along the Thames.
"64 miles so far today, with 46 more to go. It's currently 1:30, so making really good progress. I'm sort of out of the busier area now, so hopefully, well, at least for a little bit, so hopefully I'll be able to make some good progress. It's a bit slow going, I'm trying to follow the actual Thames, but it's quite amazing. Just, what, a couple of days ago, it was literally nothing, and now it's this. So if you Google where the Thames meets the sea, it'll pretty much say Southend-on-Sea. Now I want to stay this side of the river, and I'm going to be going to a little place called Goring, which is basically opposite Southend, but just by the other side of the river, obviously. Got 46 more miles to go. I'm going to try and get there before sunset. Now today I've been quite lucky with the weather. It's a bit overcast and cloudy. It's very humid and I feel very damp, but it's not as hot and it's not as grueling as it has been the last couple of days. So
Just keep following this massive river. It's basically near the sea now. 40 odd miles and we'll be at the sea. Let's go. Again. Continuing, winding around the Thames path with just 40 miles to go, passing the O2, which used to be known as the Millennium Dome, built to celebrate the year 2000. Its roof is one of the largest of its kind in the world, supported by 12 yellow towers said to represent the months of the year. These days it's one of London's busiest arenas, hosting everything from concerts to sports events. A unique design. And if you wanted a unique way to cross the Thames and didn't want to use one of the many bridges, you could take the London cable car. Opened in 2012, it spans just over a kilometre, giving you views up and down the river that you just can't get from the ground. At its highest point, it's around 90 metres above the Thames, and you can even take your bike on board. Although, I would be staying this side of the river today. Not far beyond here is the Thames Barrier, one of the largest movable flood barriers in the world, completed in 1982 to protect London from tidal surges. Standing in the river like a row of giant silver gates, it can close off the Thames in just 75 minutes. And beyond here, the river starts to feel like a working river.
Less than 20 miles to go, like 17 miles or something to go now. So I'm over 90 so far today. Just been trying to steamroll through these miles, these last few miles. Just got a nice bit of canal and we're nearly there. Just one final push. It's been one of them, it's another one of them evenings where it's starting to rain, like when we were back in Oxford. But just little drips, and it's so refreshing. Every time one hits my face, it feels good.
The Thames journey is almost over, and so is mine, with just 20 miles until the river reaches the North Sea, which is about as far as the River Thames is wide at its widest point, 18 miles. I'd follow the Thames and Medway Canal, a shortcut for military craft from Deptford and Woolwich Dockyard on the Thames to Chatham Dockyard on the Medway, avoiding the 46-mile journey round the peninsula and through the Thames estuary. I'd reach Cliff Pools, a series of flooded chalk pits on the Hoo Peninsula, originally excavated for chalk. The pools are now a nature reserve where I'd take one last rest before reaching the river's end. The Thames now getting ever wider as it begins its journey into the North Sea. Where Britain's most famous river ends its epic story, I'd arrive at Goring. It started at a pile of rocks in a corner of a field in the Cotswolds, and now, after flowing through the heart of the nation, it finishes its journey, releasing its story into the North Sea.